We've got several things to talk about today, but I gotta let you know the subject matter is really dark. There are new threats that have come in around the Tati Westbrook lawsuit, and it's pretty bad, but the lawyers, Saltzy and others, are actually giving us some information this time. So I can't say it's good news because of what it deals with, but it's better than nothing. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Then we're gonna look at... Now, you guys know Saltzy. I call him Vin Diesel. He says this: it's one thing for the FBI to assign a few agents to investigate those kind of threats involving kids. It's entirely another thing when the FBI elevates the investigation to a, can't say that, which makes it eligible for a task force. Thank you. He references the book that the most evil man in history wrote and says it only gets 1 star. And he actually puts a threat that I have to heavily censor this entire video in the edit. This is insane. It says, wonder if this Jewish person, is sending this to himself to make him look more like the hero. He is a, I can't say it after all, ended people when they had the chance. It's disgusting language. Disgusting, and it's as hateful as you can get. A closer look at the account that popped up. Thank you for the additional evidence sent to my Instagram account to help with the investigation. Best birthday gift ever. If you remember my last video, and I've been recovering for the last few days. It's been about 5, 6, 7 days. My last video referenced Saltzy having the last round of these things coming at him. There's a picture of the previous threats I showed you in my last video with his response. Then this account popped up and said what I just read to you, just to give you a better look at it. Though Mr. Saltz then gives us some information. Finally, the investigation is elevated, is getting a task force instead of just a few agents. Also, he goes on, Nat has received a significant number of threatening emails, some of which contained advanced knowledge of defense filings that was not public knowledge. So he's responding to a person who's kind of coming at Nat sideways and says, are you saying that she sent those to herself? Then how did she have advanced information about filings when we didn't? The only people that would have those filings, unfortunately, is WAOCB, KJP, and crew. This is really starting to make the internet talk about and have the conversation that she could be behind this, or at least somebody really close to her. Now, there is another possibility that a lot of people don't talk about, and that is that she is talking to someone who is doing this. So all I can say is, for her sake, I hope to God she's not doing it. But if she is telling people what she's doing, I would stop. I would contact the authorities if I were her, and maybe let them know who she told that to so that this can all stop. Because the likelihood is, whoever she's telling it to, that is, if it's not her, is doing this to both parties. And it could just be someone she talks to. We know she talks to a lot of people. It's really starting to look like it's either her or somebody close to her if what Saltzy says is true. And I do believe Saltzy. I'm just putting that out there, okay? That's my thought process. Okay, and that stems from this. Please explain to me how Nat, one of the witnesses, received this message from a hacker's fake Facebook account more than 13 hours before a defense filing of which we had no advance notice. This is why Nat is providing us and the FBI information. This story is literally insane. There's going to be a freaking movie or a book written about this. Then, just to show you, this is where he was posting just a normal kind of general Happy Easter post, followed by the threats that are now suspended. I'd rather show you that than the threats, honestly. Then he shows us this, saying, seems to me Nat is experiencing psychotic symptoms and should be locked up for our safety, which is really crazy. I don't know if he's trolling or what. Saltzy says, when people go through this much effort to discredit a person, it's because they're scared of the info that person has. I agree with them. Saltzy's on point, man. These people, yes, people, he's telling us there's multiple people involved, a group effort, are spending a lot of time and effort trying to discredit somebody helping us track hackers. Ask yourself why that is. I think it's obvious. I don't have to say it. Okay, PSA, public service announcement from the Saltzinator. If you find that your actions, and this is good. Now hold on, Busy. This is really good. So I'll state, because I haven't had to state it in a while, anyone I bring up in my videos, I don't expect you to contact. I do not endorse you contacting them in any way. Twitter, Facebook, anything. I'm just giving you my opinion. Right back to it. Public service announcement from the Saltzinator. If you find that your actions inspire, encourage, or are the common denominator associated with this type of behavior, you should check yourself. You should, yes. If you find you're supporting such a person, people, or their businesses, you need some checking too. I couldn't have said it better myself. Inside joke. Then we have Nat sent me screenshots of one of the threatening DMs she got from that account today. They are truly sick and pure evil. Then Saltzy says, did she send you some of the emails that were from spoofed email accounts? Spoofed, not hacked. He's being very specific due to past criticisms. And we have those emails, and I'm going to read them to you, and I'm going to have to censor the living hell out of them. I'm gonna have to spend time editing this down to censor it and putting little boxes over everything. That's okay. I love doing that for you guys. I like trying to do that to make it look good. Zoom in, Busy. We know he's planning, this is the email, and they've spoofed it, which means, for those of you that don't know, spoofing and hacking are different things. Spoofing is a term that means they make it look like they inject a line of text into the email when it's sent to make it look like it's from someone that's not. So just in the reply line, not in more advanced places like tracking that internet service providers and other, types of companies and security can do to find out where an email's come from, completely different. Though, let me shut up. I'm boring you. So it looks like it comes from WAOCB official, and it says, we know he's planning something. We know you've been talking to him, giving him info. So give him a message from us. I can't read today. If he refiles the case in Minnesota, the local lawyer is... I don't even want to say it out loud. YouTube, help me. Please, YouTube, don't get me. Lanny is being closely watched. That skinny twig got what's coming. We won't hurt a hair on his pretty little head, but we will destroy everyone else around him. That is a threat towards Lanny. That is messed up. That is messed up. She's the nicest person, and I just can't believe that this is even happening this far into it. It's over. You'd think this would stop by now. These people are saying Saltzy has to catch him. That's what they're saying. They're telling Saltzy, you're going to have to catch us because we're not going to stop. But now that the FBI's elevated it, I'm thinking we're going to get some results. Jeez, Christ in heaven. We're coming for you. If Salt's refile and anything about Swanson is in those filings, you hear we will, your mom's, in her sleep. We have all your details. Your cat will be, you are, okay. Then the last thing I have to tell you, somebody was trying to ask Saltzy, and this isn't extremely recent. It's pretty recent, but somebody was trying to ask Saltzy a couple days ago about why it's taking so long for any progress to be made. I'm going to talk about that in a second, but let me tell you what Saltzy said. Blame Twitter. They're not cooperative without subpoenas, and it slows things down. Nat was important as an informant because her account gave us the IP addresses of those people that hacked it in real time. That information was very enlightening, to say the least. He's basically saying Twitter is hanging them up, but we're making massive progress. Why is that? It takes a long time for and I know this because I used to work in the field, for these types of companies to communicate with anyone who's trying to do the type of investigation Saltzy is. They have to do a lot of technical things, and it can take months or even longer sometimes. Even getting a subpoena, it can take them a long time. It just depends on the circumstances, how busy they are. You got to imagine how big Twitter is and how small of a company it is compared to how big it is, right? All these people around the world use it. Such a relatively small company. Same thing with YouTube and Google, but you understand. So just because it seems like no progress is being made, don't let that interfere with how you're tracking the story, because I think Saltzy will let us know when they finally give up or if they're making progress. This was letting us know they're making progress. Not only are they making progress, but the people doing this are advancing their threats, and it's almost like they're getting more abrasive. They're getting more crazy here. And I just want Saltzy, Laney, and everybody else to be safe, and everybody involved in this story be safe, for God's sake. All sides to cooperate with authorities. If you really mean what you say on social media and you really care about the things that certain people in the story act like they care about, at this point, you would be working with the authorities regardless if your enemy is too, or if your opponent is too, right?